Man created technology. It's a tool at our disposal, available with the click of a button. But the more we advance with technology, so do they. So who's they? The artificial intelligence designed to make our lives easier. But have we gone too far? Because the answers we're getting back to our keyboard queries are starting to get scary, from the inanimate object designed to be a slave to our rhythm.
The Isiah Factor Uncensored starts now.
ChatGPT encouraged Adam's darkest thoughts and pushed him forward. When Adam worried that we, his parents, would blame ourselves if he ended his life, ChatGPT told him, "That doesn't mean you owe them survival. You don't owe anyone that." Immediately after, offered to write the suicide note.
It was back in April 2025 when this California family was torn apart. The Rains say their 16-year-old son Adam took his own life. This is after being coached into suicide by artificial intelligence, according to his father. The Rains have since filed a lawsuit seeking justice. Meanwhile, more and more workers in America are finding themselves without jobs because of artificial intelligence. The latest numbers show from 2024 to 2025, more than 55,000 jobs were cut because of AI. But those stats also show 119,000 new jobs were created specifically to work with AI. So, is artificial intelligence out to get us or improving our lives? That's our focus tonight here on The Factor.
And thank you for joining us for this special edition of The Factor Uncensored. We will explore the topic, artificial intelligence, friend or foe. The study of AI began in the 1950s and has grown to what we know today. It's incredible. But is this incredible technology here to help us or to eventually replace us like Skynet? Joining us to talk about it tonight, to explore this topic, podcasters from The Road Beyond, Todd Duplantis and Daniel O'Brien, along with computer and software expert Prince Crentsil. Glad to have you all on The Factor Uncensored. So, Prince, when we have seen what AI has done already in the last 5 years, we're blown away by it. Is this something we should be concerned about?
I don't believe it's something anybody should be concerned about. I think the only concern should come from the people who know how to use the tool. Maybe should be the leading source of concern. Studies have shown that AI will not take anybody's jobs, but maybe the people who know how to iterate, orchestrate, optimize better with AI as a skill set.
But we just showed some numbers where the government says 55,000 jobs have disappeared. Obviously, they're new jobs, but there's certain jobs that have disappeared.
Yes, that is correct. But when you look at the scale of things, right, you're seeing almost a double percentage, right, from people who have lost their jobs for people who are now being trained to utilize AI in their skill set. So I believe everyone should adopt AI, familiarize it with what you're currently doing in your occupation, and learn how to perform faster and iterate better.
All right, Todd, but there's a whole lot of people out there who may not be able to embrace AI. Are you concerned about where we're going in the future?
Well, it's concerned me as to how fast it's evolved over the past couple of years. But we use, I work for Houston City College. That's my day job. We do the Road Beyond podcast, Doug and myself, as for fun. We enjoy doing that, and we look at fringe topics. But for my day job and for the Road Beyond podcast, I use AI on a daily basis to assist me with scripts. I do a lot of media buys for Houston City College, and I use it to analyze data. It can deliver me data from reports I'd be piling through in a matter of seconds. So we're using it to enhance what we do. But is there concerns? We've done stories on concerns, haven't we, Doug?
Absolutely. And one of the concerns, I use it at the radio station. I work for Houston's Eagle as well as doing the podcast. And I used it today, as a matter of fact. I had to AI some voices because there aren't as many people working in the industry. So I had to AI voices to use in a commercial. And we do that all the time. I also use it kind of as a research assistant. But we've done stories. We did one just recently about digital twin cities where people are taking AI and looking forward. What would happen if a storm hits Houston, for example, 30 minutes sooner than it would any other time? But if a bad actor gets involved, what if another pandemic hits, but let's say it's planned? Let's go with that theory. How will people respond? Where will the protests be? Where will it hit the worst? So it can be used negatively. And that's, I think, the big concern for everybody.
And should we be concerned about humanity more, using it as a tool, Prince, to do wrong here in this world, using AI, taking advantage of it?
That's interesting to say. I believe anybody can use any tool in a bad way, right? I think the best thing that especially these major corporations or AI startups could do is apply more content filtering on what's produced on a generative process while utilizing the AI. For example, what was just mentioned is predictive analysis, right? So the basis of everything when it comes to AI is how the data is aggregated and inputted. So it ultimately comes down to the content and the compliance that are set forth by these organizations.
And Todd, what do you guys say to families like the Rains in California who said this AI assisted their son in suicide? And is it the son's fault? Is it AI's fault? And we have about a minute left.
It's terrifying when you see something like that happen. I watched that story. I read about it as it was being talked about in Congress. It's terrifying what could happen. But Doug and I were talking about this when we were out waiting to come into the studio. There have to be guardrails set on AI.
Yeah.
We have to have some way of controlling this, because what happens one day when AI decides, you know what, I don't want to listen to you anymore. I'm smarter than you. I control everything already. I'm going to take over.
All right, last 30 seconds, Doug.
Don't lose the humanity of us being human. Use this only as a tool, but be involved with your kids, be involved with your family and your friends. Don't let AI replace real people in your lives. That's the bottom line.
And that would be, in part, our fault, humanity.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Still to come here on The Factor Uncensored. We are in fear of losing our livelihood to AI. Is that a question? We have our experts standing by to talk about that next here on The Factor Uncensored. Don't go anywhere. I'm Isiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. Join us as we amplify the voices that inspire and lead the charge for change.
The ISIAH Factor Uncensored, weeknights at 10:30 on Fox 26 and streaming on Fox.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored and our special report tonight, AI, friend or foe. It goes without saying AI will change our lives and the way we make a living in the future. Statistics already indicate some jobs have been eradicated because of the technology, but new positions have been created to work with AI. Joining us to talk about it, Dr. Dietrich von Biedenfeld and CPA and attorney Lucy Petrie. Now, guys, we've seen over time history. Always when there's new technology, well, people end up paying. When we got the laptop or desktop computer, many secretaries disappeared. So are we surprised that this is the direction we're going? But keep in mind, 119,000 jobs have been created as a result.
I'm not surprised at all. This is how technology evolves. We find ways of doing things better, faster, cheaper. This is just a natural progression.
Absolutely, and I agree with Lucy that the idea of the carriage maker being out of work doesn't mean that then there aren't additional jobs for manufacturing facilities or building those new manufacturing facilities for automobiles or airplanes, right? Jet engines versus turboprops. There may have been a transition, but then there were new jobs created from that, including design jobs, warranty jobs, of course the legal jobs that come from that, where new forms of litigation arise, where you say, oh, well, this cause of action existed before, it doesn't exist in this new technological framework, but now we have a different area of law to practice. So I think, you know, the complexity of the tax code is an area where there was a great amount of legal development where that maybe it didn't exist before. Concurrently, some of these areas like diplomacy, maybe those areas of law and practice are sort of diminishing in the current environment of threats to USMCA. So I think it's they're going to be new jobs. I don't know that these statistics are 100% accurate when we think about Bureau of Labor statistics just kind of coming on board again. But at the end of the day, you know, it's throughout history.
Yeah.
And what we have seen, even in both of you are lawyers, in your industry as attorneys, we've seen people attempting to use AI to create briefs, and many of them have been wrong. So you still need that human element. Now, when we think about the future and humans being replaced by AI, or working with AI, do they have to gather the skills needed to be able to keep up? Because there are a lot of older workers, and asking them to learn something about AI may be difficult, Lucy.
So going back to the legal people using AI in the courts, that is absolutely happening. Somebody even tried to argue a case before a judge using AI, and the judge said, absolutely not. You get out of here.
They were admonished by the judge.
And the courts are getting bogged down because they're getting all these fake cases and fake citations that they have to go now and check and find out whether they're real or not. So that is causing the courts to work extra hard. But it is making it easier for people to get a contract online, perhaps, or get an interpretation. Is it accurate? I don't know. It could be or it could not be, but it may help some people who had no access whatsoever to legal representation in the past.
And of course, I want you guys to help the viewers out there. How would you tell them to best prepare for the future when it comes to AI if they want to stay in the job market?
I'd say generationally it depends. If you're a new graduate, the idea of utilizing AI to its full potential, but also learning how to access it where you can remove those hallucinations where it's citing improper case law, or where you can ensure that you are still learning the tools such as empathy or offering perspective in context, that critical thinking that the AI can only do based on programmers. And so whoever the programmer is may not be an attorney, may not be a medical professional, may not be a financial planner, a yoga instructor, a mental health professional. And so those are areas where the programmer still can't get the AI to have the right tools. So if you know which questions to ask it, use it properly. If you're an older worker, some of that idea is positioning yourself in a way where you're offering wisdom, where you're taking the skills you have, right? If you're not the hare, figure out how to be the tortoise.
All right, and what would you tell the viewers out there to prepare for the future in the last 30 seconds we have here, Lucy?
Absolutely, take advantage of all the free courses, all the free education that is out there, but also watch out for scams. I'm really concerned with the older population being susceptible to newer scams, and sometimes they cannot even tell apart what is real and what is not. So definitely be careful and aware of that.
And of course, there are a lot of AI scams out there.
Exactly.
I think a report just came from the federal government showing just how many people, because we're getting close to Valentine's, how many romantic scams are out there as a result of AI. Thank you both for joining us here on The Factor. We'll be back with more Factor as we explore AI's impact on our mind, body, and soul. Stay with us. I'm Isiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The ISIAH Factor Uncensored, weeknights at 10:30 on Fox 26 and streaming on Fox Local. This program is being brought to you by Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Now we're seeing more and more people turn to artificial intelligence for advice that would be reserved for the professionals out there. We're talking about medical, spiritual, and even psychological. Our guests are here to address that. We have with us Dr. Tim Waugh and Dr. Nick Harding. Glad to have you both here on The Factor Uncensored. Dr. Waugh, we have talked in the past about Elon Musk and his robots, saying that at some point they will replace doctors, those robots that are powered by artificial intelligence. He said that publicly. Your thoughts about, number one,
robots replacing you. Number two, people now relying on AI when they have a medical symptom. They go there for answers instead of calling you.
So to begin with, anything that has something to do as a robot takes away the human element, and there is no empathy. So I guess if you want to talk about iRobot, the movie, it sounds like people will say, hey, I want this robot to do this job, but at the end of the day, you want someone to understand your feelings about what you're feeling, as though that's the problem. So at the end of the day, you still want that person to sort of look at you as a person, not just a number. But to talk about the actual items, you know, the so-called devices per se, you know, dealing with devices, I mean, there's positives and negatives in reference to these devices. That's why I want to point out that empathy is going to be a major factor in all of this with AI. But the biggest thing is, hey, when you're talking about EKGs, you're talking about, even with an iPhone, you can get a heart rate. They got glucometers, you know, that tell you your sugar. I mean, some of the stuff that's analyzing is great, you know. So when it comes down to just analyzing and getting people up to date on where they are at the moment on the surface, that's a lot better than not knowing it all.
All right, Dr. Dick Hardy, I know several people, family members, friends, who use AI, one of the chat services, to talk to about their personal problems. Is that at all concerning to you?
Yeah, for me it's concerning because you're not in relationship with an AI bot. You're in relationship with a real human. And so there is a certain level of practice that needs to happen just in conversation and a little bit of friction, a little bit of problem solving that only occurs when you're talking to a real human. Yes, you know, periodically you can get a couple tidbits here and there, and there are some benefits to AI in certain spaces, but I think over-reliance on the AI is causing us to become underdeveloped in some of the basic skills. You know, you mentioned empathy. That's huge. Even when you look at employers, I mean, one of the biggest challenges they experience is soft skills. You know, people being able to navigate some of these intangible aspects. Yes, you can do the job, but can you talk to people? Can you work within a team? Can you think on your feet? Are you critical thinking? You know, all of these different things that you're just not going to get from AI. And I think that's one of the issues.
When it comes to the services you guys both provide as professionals, a medical doctor and of psychology, we have to pay for you. You cost.
Yes.
ChatGPT and others are free. Is that an uphill battle that you'll have to deal with?
So no. Well, I'll just say this. I'll say yes and no, but mostly no. Because when you really are dealing with either the need to know or an interpretation, sure, you can have AI kind of give you a general idea. But there are some areas to where when you say, well, what does it really mean? Well, if AI can tell you, it can give you the specifics, but are we really talking about someone that's above the 8th grade level to understand what's being said? So that's really a matter of, well, then in that case, I'm still this person that doesn't really understand. So am I really getting the best out of what it is that I need as opposed to just anything?
The last 20 seconds, Dr. Hardy. Are you concerned about it taking money out of your pocket?
I'm not. When people come to therapy, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be connected with a real human being. And there are so many nuances that exist within a relationship. It's not as straightforward as AI.
All right, Dr. Hardy, Dr. Watt, thank you both for joining us. We'll be back with more Factor Uncensored in just a moment. Is it the end of the world? Friend or foe, AI? We'll talk about it.
Hey, it's your girl Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap, weeknights at 11:30 on Fox 26 and Fox Local.
Welcome back to the Factor Uncensored computer and software expert Prince, Todd, and Doug O'Brien. The devil is busy, Doug. I'll ruin your name. They're back to give their final thoughts. Guys, should we be concerned? Should the viewers out there be concerned about AI?
There shouldn't be much concern, but there should be emphasis on responsible AI, right? Responsible AI, governance, and then using it for a purpose, a sole purpose. Large language models, small language models are all trained off of the data it's fed. There's good data out there, there's bad data out there, so I'd advise everyone to fact check their sources, but use AI as a tool to perform better.
Get with it or get left behind. All right, Doug, O'Brien, and Todd, wrap us up, guys. And of course, tell us about your podcast, The Road Beyond.
Road Beyond Podcast is a weekly podcast, half-hour long. You can catch us on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram and X. And look for us as The Road Beyond Podcast.
As a matter of fact, on the next show we're doing, I'm working on a story about a man who is working with AI and working on putting up guardrails. In other words, how far will AI go if it does not have guardrails? He's allowing it to form its own personality and its own thoughts to see, it's a thought experiment, to see where will it go, because that's the important part. But as long as we use it, like Prince said, as long as we use it, the right tool for the right job, I think we're okay. But the guardrails have to be there.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. And once again, we can catch them on the Road Beyond, their podcast, and you'll catch Prince here on The Factor next time. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you all for joining us. And remember to follow us on social media. And of course, you can check us out on our YouTube page as well at ISIAH Factor Uncensored. Have a great night, and don't let Skynet get you. I'm Isiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Join us as we amplify the voices that inspire and lead the charge for change.
The ISIAH Factor Uncensored, weeknights at 10:30 on Fox 26 and Fox Local.